This video's a little bit different. It's not about an actual council meeting. It's about meetings that go on behind the scenes that the majority of people probably don't even know about. Councillors and MPs are voted in, but are they the ones who are really making decisions? Somebody who has a good understanding of what's really going on is Sir Bob Russell. All of the members of Council Watch and many of our residents truly admire Sir Bob Russell for what he's doing. He attends many meetings and often he raises the term quangos. Quangos are quasi-non-governmental organisations who are not elected, they are independent and often bring in things that a majority of the people have not voted for. Who has heard of We Are Colchester? Recently mentioned by Sir Bob in an article in the Gazette whilst talking about the Holy Trinity Church. And what about the Britannia car park that Sir Bob mentioned earlier this year?
Economic success of the city centre relies on car parks as one means. In fact, 2/3 of people come into the city centre by car. These two car parks per space are the largest income revenue generator for Colchester City Council. They bring in roughly £1 million a year. And if those two car parks go for housing, that is £1 million a year revenue lost to the council, a council which says it is short of money and needs to generate money. And the city centre needs those car parks in order to be financially successful. So one thing that amazes me, that the city centre traders and businesses seem to be relaxed and not doing much about it to fight their corner. It shouldn't be for me to come here to fight their corner.
This is a picture of Britannia car park on a recent Sunday afternoon. It is always busy. A few months ago, friends were speaking to somebody in the car park and they said that it's surprising that the people who are making the decisions to close the car park don't understand what's going on. The concerning thing is the person that they were speaking to was a parking attendant. He understood what was going on. Why don't the people making the decisions? They seem to be reliant on a modal shift, as they call it. On the same day that the picture was taken of the full car park, pictures were also taken of electric bikes that were placed inside the car park. And there was another one outside on the narrow road blocking the pavement. Although later in the day, the one blocking the pavement had been moved, it was obvious that the bikes had not been used. Well-established businesses are already struggling. We can see this by the recent sad news that Timpley's will be closing on the 23rd of September. So the quango, that is We Are Colchester, is behind all of this. So who is actually involved? Information regarding We Are Colchester can be found on the council's website. In October 2020, the council submitted the Colchester Town Deal bid to the government and they were awarded £18.2 million in 2021 to help grow Colchester's economy and improve the quality and life of all residents. These are the members of the board as shown on the council's website. In 2020, when We Are Colchester was formed, Simon Blaxill was nominated as the chair and he has remained in that position. Simon Blaxill is the director of Kent Blaxill Properties Limited and was formerly the managing director of Kent Blaxill Group Limited. Recently, Kent Blaxill closed its Colchester branch after 187 years. Earlier in the year there were rumours going around that the branch was going to close, but Kent Blaxill made a statement stating, contrary to some reports within the industry, Kent Blaxill Builders Merchants have not entered into administration and still operate as part of the Independent Builders Merchant Group. Councillor David King, who is the leader of Colchester City Council and is also a member of the We Are Colchester board, stated that, "I feel great sadness at the loss of such a valued and respected brand that served businesses and residents so well and which has provided employment for so many over so many years. It's a great shame that something of great stature has been lost." So who else is on the board of We Are Colchester? There is Pamela Donnelly, who is the Chief Executive of Colchester City Council, who obviously has major responsibility with regard to all what is going on. I'm not sure that this list is totally up to date because it is showing Tracy Rudlin as the representative for Community 360. I remember that the situation with regard to Community 360 was raised in a number of council meetings. I recollect the leader of the council, Councillor David King, speaking about this. What was the outcome? Has the council been updated? It was publicised that Tracy Rudlin was stepping down from her role as CEO of Community 360. Pam Cox, who is the Labour MP for Colchester, is a member of the board and is also a Colchester City Councillor. Adam Fox, Pam Cox's assistant, has attended meetings on her behalf. In addition to the other board members that are listed on the council's website, there have been other attendees from different organisations, including some from central government. One of those being Gregory Wilkinson, who works for the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government and seems to be working on the English devolution with regard to governance structures and oversight. Meeting notes show other attendees, facilitators and observers who have attended We Are Colchester meetings since they started in 2020. A list of the meeting dates can be found online, and it shows that the last meeting recorded was on the 22nd of May 2025. Those notes show that a meeting should have taken place on the 21st of August 2025. As yet, there is no evidence of this meeting taking place. There's just too much to go through all of the projects, but here is the delivery plan, key milestones and a budget overview. I do want to cover a little bit about 5G, but first of all, there's just another couple of things I'd like to go through. Not only is there We Are Colchester, there is also Our Colchester Business Improvement District. There is a list of their board of directors, and Simon Blacksall is also chair for this board of directors. Councillor David King, the leader of the council, attends these meetings as an observer, along with Matthew Sterling, who is the head of economic growth. More and more of us are realising that the councils are run as corporations, just like the governments. On Company House records you can find Our Colchester Limited, Colchester Amphora Energy Limited, Colchester Amphora Homes Limited, Colchester Amphora Trading Limited and Colchester Borough Homes Limited. And how are all their companies doing? Wouldn't we like to know? I think they owned quite a nice expensive borehole in the Northern Gateway project. That sounds interesting. Perhaps we'll find out the truth about that one day. Now back to 5G. In our last video, entitled Censored, Karina versus King, we covered the plans to make Colchester a pilot for 5G, and we showed a clip of Councillor Paul Dundas raising questions in a Governance and Audit Committee meeting. Here's a little reminder.
So it's a town deal funded initiative working with the museum service. So we have tendered and awarded the contract for the build of the 5G network at key heritage points around the city, and then we work with the museum service to develop the content, conscious of it becoming a sustainable and viable product, and that work will happen over the coming year.
Thank you. Councillor Dundas.
Yeah, just very briefly, the 5G, the private 5G network, could you perhaps expand or explain exactly a little bit how that works and what it is? I take it by 5G, we're talking a wireless network. That's usually what people think of a 5G. So firstly, what is substantially different between that and the already commercially available systems, which we can get on our phones and routers and all the rest of it, and who are the actual customers for that, and how are they utilising it? I just wonder if you could just explain the rationale behind the commercial and beneficial nature of it.
I'm not going to pretend to be a technical expert. We have that in the team, and certainly I think we could provide a greater technical answer to you, and happy to take that away and provide it. I think so the customers of it will be people that subscribe to the service through the museum service to get the virtual reality experience. For example, at all the various, at the castle itself, the Roman gates, so they could, understand and experience what it was like in those times. So that will be a service that people subscribe to, as visitors to the city.
Yeah, I think one of the problems is I think it's the way it's described. It's actually a really difficult sell to the public at the moment as to why we're spending money on it, why we're spending town deal money on it, because the average person in the street will say, hang on, the council's spending a load of money on 5G. I've got a 5G phone. Why are they, I get it with 3 and 02, why are they spending public money on a 5G network? So I think when we explain it, I just don't think it is connecting with people. So I just think we need to work much harder on explaining why as a council we're developing a 5G network when you've already got 4 in the city.
Simon? Yes, so we'll pick up that question. It's a really good question, and we'll pick it up in terms of explaining the commercial value. So we'll take that away as an action. Thank you.
So, did they take those really important points away and action them? We thought we'd find out. We did a Freedom of Information request. A response was received from Amphora via their customer information team. The document that was attached was unlike anything that we've ever received before for a Freedom of Information request. It was a 5-page document that looked very much like it was AI generated. The document had no indication that it came from Amphora or who actually compiled the information. As you can see, the document is headed up the Accelerated Introduction of 5G. There's a lot to take in, and does it really answer the questions and concerns raised by Councillor Dundas? I don't think so, do you? Colchester Council were bidding to bring 5G to the town in 2017, so why did there need to be any mention at all with regard to COVID-19? There is also no mention of a comparison with regard to 4G, which is one of the things that Councillor Dundas was asking about. Is that because 5G is not designed for mobile phones? There is, however, a lot of mention about augmented reality, virtual reality and the Internet of Things. Visitors, especially families, come to places like Castle Park and the castle to get their families, especially children, away from devices. Somebody who really understands about all of this is Sue Cook, who is a neurodevelopment specialist with 18 years experience helping people improve their sensory experience. Sue is the author of multiple books, including her most recent book, Brain in the Jar. She has helped thousands of families with spectrum issues after the elder of her 2 sons was diagnosed with severe dyslexia at the age of 6. She refused to accept nothing could be done for him and researched neurodevelopment. I will post details of Sue's YouTube channel, her contact details and other links below.
Hi everyone, I'm going to just do a little bit on eye strain. So our eyes are one of the rare senses in that they're controlled by muscles and nerves. So with our eyes, we've got 3 sets of cranial nerves organised to help us move our eyes. So the 3rd, 4th and 6th cranial nerves allow us to move our eyes up, down, sideways. And also then around the lens in the iris, we've got little muscles which allow our pupil to contract or dilate. Okay, so when we're dealing with muscles, as we know, muscles can get tired, muscles can get strained, and muscles can maybe get overworked as well. So if we're thinking about screen usage, I'm staring at my iPhone now. It's about 2 feet away from my face, and if I was to be staring at this for hours and hours and hours, that would mean that my muscles in my eyes were, well, the moving around muscles would not be getting any work, and the muscles controlling the pupil would be frozen into one focal distance. So that could cause strain. When we relax, say we're standing at the beach and we're staring out to sea, our eyes naturally relax because we're staring into the distance. We're not having to strain those muscles around the pupil. Just think about it now. Just look away. When you go to think about something and process something in your head, what do? You look into a distance, don't you? And that's for that reason. It's so that your eyes can relax. So that's one reason why screens can be problematic to stare at all day. So we should take regular breaks, and we should move our eyes around and get some eye exercise as well, so that we keep our eyes relaxed. If we're thinking about screen usage and children. If children haven't developed good tracking, so good tracking is the ability to move up and down, across, diagonally, and all the way around, etc. If a child hasn't developed that yet and they're staring fixedly at a screen, that could be problematic for their developing vision. So it really wouldn't be a good idea for children, really young children, especially under 10, to be having a ton of screen time. If I think back to my childhood, we didn't have screens. We were playing outside on our bikes, running around and being very, very physical. And we used to colour in maybe when we were indoors or read, but there's not any EMFs coming off books. EMFs are electromagnetic fields, and they are energies that can disrupt our own energy. Maybe. You can Google this, you can decide that for yourself. However, if you're wearing a VR, let's just say, for example, that you're wearing a VR thing, virtual reality headset, and it's coming over here, it's going to be right here in front of your face. So that could be problematic for several reasons. One is it's going to maybe fix your focal distance. I don't really know much about VR. I'm just imagining if you've got this here, it's not going to be working your eyes as much as it should. Plus you've got a screen right here, and I don't really think that's such a great idea when you've got EMFs and stuff. We really want to be getting away from EMFs as much as we can and keeping our body unaffected by electromagnetic fields. That would be far healthier, I think.
So, does it sound like We Are Colchester are spending the £18.2 million to help improve the quality of life for residents and visitors? No longer can we be called conspiracy theories, because the council have actually admitted through their Freedom of Information response that private 5G is a cornerstone of future-ready smart city infrastructure. When did the public actually give their permission for all of this? The Digital Forum building is going to be owned by the Colchester City Council, which doesn't that mean in effect the public own that building? Here are some of their prospective tenants: VR, AR, creative marketing, design agency, digital media, digital trainers, app developers, digital nomads, animation, robotics, creative freelancers, technology and IT, green tech, AI, digital artists, med tech, and you must not forget 5G smart cities.
Yeah, I think one of the problems is I think it's the way it's described. It's actually a really difficult sell to the public at the moment as to why we're spending money on it, why we're spending town deal money on it, because the average person in the street will say, hang on, the council's spending a load of money on 5G. I've got a 5G phone. Why are they spending public money on a 5G network? So I just think we need to work much harder on explaining why as a council we're developing a 5G network when you've already got 4 in the city. It's not really connecting with me, to be honest. I'm never really quite worked out what the benefit of it is. So I just think we need to work much harder on explaining why as a council we're developing a 5G network when you've already got 4 in the city.
Are you understanding it yet, Councillor Dundas? Here is a leaflet which explains 5G. I hope that you find it helpful. Thanks for watching, and as usual, please leave your comments below.